Jeep just shocked the off-road world with concepts nobody saw coming. A 707 horsepower Hellcat Wrangler, a doorless electric Recon, and a retro Cherokee that could actually reach dealerships. Some of these builds look insane, but the real surprise is how many of their features are headed for production. First up is the Wrangler Anvil 715. This rig is built off a Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon, but Jeep ripped the entire front end off and rebuilt it to look like the old Kaiser M715, a military truck from the 1960s. Square headlights, narrow grille, drab green paint. It looks straight out of an old army base. Under the hood sits the 6.4-liter 392 Hemi V8 that makes 470 horsepower. The fixed roof adds 4 inches of height and has skylights built right into it. Jeep wrapped it with 37-inch BF Goodrich tires on 17-inch wheels, stuck steel bumpers on both ends, and added a built-in air system so you can let air out of the tires and pump them back up without leaving the trail. Inside, the floor is coated in spray-on bed liner because Jeep figured you'll be hauling muddy gear constantly. The whole thing is meant for overlanding, which is basically living out of your Jeep for weeks at a time. However, the wildest part is the body. Every single bolt-on panel is cut by machine and shaped out of carbon fiber. That's the kind of detail most channels skip right over. Then there's the bright orange buzz cut. This one comes from Jeep's Mopar performance team, and it's painted in bright vitamin C orange with black accents. The roof got chopped 2 inches, which gives it a sloped back look no Wrangler has ever had before. It's a 2-door with the rear seats completely gone. In their place sits a lockable drawer system with straps and pouches all over it, so this thing turns into a rolling toolbox. The engine is the 2.0-liter Turbo 4 with a Mopar cold air intake and an 8-speed automatic. Jeep added a 2-inch lift, 37-inch BF Goodrich tires on 17-inch wheels, a snorkel, steel rock rails, and a worn winch up front. Even the off-road lights have orange rings around them to match the paint. The hidden detail nobody talks about? There's a grab handle built into the body behind the back window that lets you climb up to the roof rack like a ladder. However, that chopped roof makes the windshield smaller, so seeing the road gets harder. But on the trails in Moab, reviewers said this thing absolutely ripped. Stripping things back is the Wrangler Laredo. The Laredo is the complete opposite of the buzz cut. No flash, no chop, no big motor. It's built on the Willys version of the Wrangler, which means a 3.6-liter V6 paired with a 6-speed manual gearbox. That's right, 3 pedals and a stick shift. Jeep called this thing intentionally analog, and they really meant it. The inside has cloth seats with throwback southwestern patterns, a vinyl floor instead of carpet so you can hose it out, and pretty much zero modern distractions. The outside wears tan paint, half doors, and a sliding fabric roof you slide open by hand instead of pushing a button. The wheels are 17-inch slotted mags wrapped in 37-inch BF Goodrich tires. The Laredo name itself goes all the way back to the early 1980s on the CJ5 and CJ7. However, reviewers in Moab were pretty sure this build isn't just for fun. It's the most likely concept to actually become a factory trim you can walk into a dealer and buy. Moving on to luxury, the Grand Wagoneer Commander. Now things get weird, because Jeep took its $97,000 luxury 3-row family hauler and turned it into a trail rig. The Commander rides on 35-inch Nitto all-terrain tires wrapped around 20-inch black wheels. There's a lift kit underneath, custom skid plates protecting the belly, and 7 Baja Designs lights mounted on a custom roof rack. The outside wears black paint with dark gold map-style designs that show off the trails of Canyonlands National Park, which is a modern twist on the classic Wagoneer wood grain look from decades ago. Even the big glass sunroof has the same map design pressed into it. However, the inside got 0 changes. Jeep left the leather and tech completely stock, because their argument is you shouldn't have to give up a heated massaging seat just because you want to climb rocks. The Commander is basically a flex. It says you can tow your other Jeep out to Moab and still confidently hit the trails in your luxury SUV. But the actual engine? Jeep wouldn't say a word. Probably the fan favorite was the XJ Pioneer. Jeep took a clean 1984 Cherokee XJ and did a light update on it. The key word there is light. The lead designer, Chris Piscatelli, openly admitted in interviews that he felt guilty about cutting up such a clean, original donor car. His exact words were, "But I still cut it up." The engine stayed totally stock. Jeep added a 2-inch lift, quick disconnect sway bars for better flex on rough ground, 33-inch BF Goodrich tires on custom 17-inch wheels made to look like the original steel ones, and carbon fiber fender flares with bigger openings for more clearance. Inside, you get beaded wood seat covers like the ones people had in their cars in 1986, a cassette tape player, a custom cooler, and the original brown 1980s interior left totally alone. The paint is the factory original with a custom root beer brown roof. Pretty much every reviewer in Moab called this their favorite of the show. However, the timing here is sneaky. Jeep brought the Cherokee name back for 2026, and this is also Jeep's 85th anniversary year. So this little XJ is basically a love letter wrapped around a marketing move. Now check out the Gladiator Red Rock. This one breaks all the rules. Every other concept Jeep brought to Moab is heading back to Stellantis' museum collection in Michigan once the show ends. But not the Red Rock. Jeep gave this truck away. Specifically, they donated it to the Red Rock Four-Wheelers, the volunteer club that has organized the Easter Jeep Safari since 1982. It's built on a 2026 Gladiator Rubicon with the 3.6-liter V6 and an 8-speed automatic. The setup includes a 3-inch lift, 17-inch wheels with 37-inch tires, a worn winch, work lights, a built-in air compressor, and a sliding cargo tray in the bed. Inside, Jeep installed flooring you can wash out with a hose, plus grab handles everywhere. The ceiling is even printed with vintage photos of the Red Rock four-wheeler's history. But the wild part is, this truck doesn't get parked after the show. It stays in Moab and goes to work on trail maintenance and cleanup year-round. It's the only concept of the bunch that has an actual full-time job. Quick question, how many miles do you want your Jeep to last? If the answer is, as long as possible, check out my 500,000-mile Jeep blueprint. It's packed with the maintenance habits, mistakes to avoid, and simple tips that help Jeep owners get the most life out of their rigs. The link is in the description below. The first surprise reveal was the Cherokee Upland. Jeep showed up to Moab with 6 concepts, but on the second day they pulled back the curtain on 2 more surprise builds. The Cherokee Upland was one of them. On the surface, it looks pretty mild. It gets a new front bumper with tow hooks built in, more tow hooks at the back, a fresh roof rack, and 18-inch wheels wrapped in 32-inch Falcon Wild Peak tires. The body wears a landscape-style camo wrap with hidden Easter eggs inside the artwork, including a Willys Jeep silhouette and one of the arches from Arches National Park. However, the real story is what's missing. The new 2026 Cherokee launched without a Trailhawk version. That's been the off-road trim for years, and it just wasn't there at launch. But here's the wild part. The press image files Jeep sent out for the Upland were reportedly named Jeep KM Trailhawk, with KM being the secret internal code for this Cherokee's body. So this thing is basically the next Trailhawk in a costume. The standard Cherokee uses a 1.6-liter hybrid that makes 210 horsepower. But there's chatter the upcoming Trailhawk could swap in the Grand Cherokee's 324-horsepower Hurricane engine instead. The doorless surprise was the Recon Overwatch. This one goes way more extreme than the Upland. Jeep took its new all-electric Recon, ripped the doors off, removed the rear glass, and turned it into a doorless electric trail monster. They named it after Moab's Overwatch Trail. The Recon Overwatch gets a 2-inch lift, a 1-inch wider stance, 34-inch BF Goodrich mud terrain tires on 18-inch wheels, carbon fiber wide fenders, steel rock rails, and a paint job called Ghost in light gray. The interior is wrapped in avocado green. However, the most important detail came from what Jeep's design boss, Vince Galante, said about it. He confirmed the doorless setup will actually reach production one day. So if you buy an electric Jeep down the road, you'll really be able to pull the doors off like a regular Wrangler. Galante also called the Overwatch Jeep's first trail-tough battery electric vehicle. The Recon makes 650 horsepower from 2 motors, which is more than the V8-powered Wrangler 392 makes. But the Overwatch itself isn't a production preview. It's just Jeep proving its electric platform can take serious abuse. The 707-horsepower beast is Casey Curry's Wrangler Striker. The Striker isn't even a normal Wrangler anymore. Jeep co-built it with professional off-road racer Casey Curry, who won the 2020 Dakar Rally. Under the hood sits a 707 horsepower supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi Hellcat V8. That's the same engine Dodge put in the Hellcat Challenger. But the wildest part is the front suspension. Every Wrangler since forever has used a solid front axle that connects both front wheels together. The Striker uses a custom independent front suspension where each front wheel moves on its own, and that's unheard of on a Wrangler. It also has roughly 20 inches of front wheel travel and 30 inches of rear travel, Fox bypass shocks, 42-inch Nitto trail grappler tires on beadlocks, Currie axles, and Willwood brakes. Currie himself said the rig is designed to fly over 100 miles per hour and jump 200 to 300-foot bumps in the desert. He raced his older trophy Jeep to 16th place at King of the Hammers in February 2026, where Jeep first showed off the Striker. Then he raced the Striker itself at the Nora 1000 across Mexico's Baja Peninsula. However, the bigger move was Currie's family business joining Jeep's official accessories program at the same time. So the Striker isn't just a one-off, it's the start of a real racing partnership. The one heading to dealers is the production Recon EV. While the concepts get all the headlines, the actual Recon is what hits dealer lots. This is Jeep's second electric vehicle, and its first trail-tough one. It runs 2 electric motors, making 650 horsepower combined and 620 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happens in 3.6 seconds, which is faster than the V8-powered Wrangler 392 that makes 470 horsepower. The Recon uses a 100.5 kilowatt-hour battery on a 400-volt system and gets around 230 miles of range in the Launch Moab trim. The price starts at $66,995 with shipping. However, there's a brutal catch. The Recon weighs 6,112 pounds, which is over 1,600 pounds heavier than a Wrangler Unlimited. It tows just 3,300 pounds, which is way less than the gas Wrangler. It also doesn't qualify for the $7,500 federal EV tax credit that expired in late 2025. Jeep CEO Bob Broderdorf openly admitted he's not in a hurry on the Recon. His exact words were, "I want to get the quality right of Cherokee, and then as soon as we're confident, okay, turn on the Recon." So orders open mid-2026. The concept that became real is the Wrangler Rewind. This is the one that actually made it from a concept all the way to your driveway. The Rewind started as a one-off concept at the 2025 Easter Jeep Safari. The internet went absolutely insane over it. The response was so massive that Jeep scrapped the concept-only plan and put it straight into production. It was officially revealed on April 12, 2026, as the 6th installment in Jeep's 12-4-12 program, where Jeep drops a new limited edition Wrangler on the 12th of every month for a whole year. The Rewind is pure 1980s and early 1990s throwback. It wears neon stripes in red, magenta, and blue against paint colors like Hydro Blue, Juice, and Rain. The interior uses Napa leather with old arcade-style graphics pressed into the seats. The shift knob has a pixel-style design. Gold accent wheels and tow hooks finish it off. However, the part most channels miss is that this is technically a $1,900 retro package layered on top of the Willys trim. So you're getting the locking back wheels, off-road plus mode, steel rock rails, and trail-ready suspension underneath. The Gladiator pickup version of the Rewind starts around $50,340 with shipping. Last but craziest is the Grand Wagoneer REEV. This one isn't a Moab concept, but it's the most shocking thing Jeep has built in years, and it lands later in the 2026 model year. The Grand Wagoneer REEV is America's first range-extended electric vehicle, or REEV for short. The setup is bizarre in a brilliant way. A 92 kilowatt-hour battery powers 2 electric motors that drive all 4 wheels, but there's also a 3.6-liter V6 under the hood. That V6 never drives the wheels directly. It only acts as a built-in generator to recharge the battery while you drive. The combined output is 647 horsepower and 620 pound-feet of torque, with 0 to 60 in roughly 5 seconds. Total range with a full battery and full gas tank lands around 500 miles. However, the real shock is the price war Jeep started with this thing. The 2026 Grand Wagoneer base price dropped over $20,000 compared to the 2025 model. It now starts at $64,740. Jeep also dropped the Wagoneer sub-brand and slapped the Jeep badge right on the hood. Their CEO openly admitted they confused their own buyers. That's all 12 concepts, and if they tell us anything, it's that Jeep is willing to take bigger risks than we've seen in years. Which one would you actually buy? The Hellcat-powered Striker, the Retro Rewind, or the all-electric Recon? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more Jeep content, and click the video on your screen now. I'll see you there.